Stadium, 1996. Leicester City's fourth visit to the famous Twin Towers in 5 seasons. A fairy tale end to a roller coaster season and a dream finish for new boss Martin O'Neill, less than 5 months after succeeding Mark McGee in the Filbert Street hot seat. It proved to be a day to remember for the playoff specialists.
How are they going to do today?
We're going to win. The omens are good for us. We've won the last game. We're going to win today.
You're confident?
Dead confident, yeah.
When the Foxes last made it to the playoff final in 1994, they fought back to beat Derby County 2-1 in dramatic style.
Race, and it goes towards Owen Roy, brilliant save indeed! Walsh has scored! Leicester City are in dreamland now! That might be the goal that finally takes them to heaven!
2 years on against Crystal Palace, it was almost an action replay. Only this time just 2 seconds were left on the clock when Steve Claridge landed a heart-stopping winner. The final whistle signalled City's return to the Premiership at the first attempt. Coming up later in the programme, we'll be featuring the full highlights of City's great day out at Wembley. But the playoff story began with a 2-leg semi-final against Stoke City. The Foxes claiming 5th place in the final table, 2 points behind Stoke and 4 behind Palace. Leicester had home advantage in the first leg of the playoff semi-final, but once again a season littered with disappointing home form left the Foxes frustrated.
Claridge again, back to goal, a situation he knows well. Stockings round his ankles as usual. And a dangerous ball he's played back, he's given it away. He could be in trouble here as Sturridge goes on. Kevin Poole to Leicester's rescue. Simon Sturridge might have scored the opening goal of the game, and Steve Claridge will be a very relieved man. It was his mistake.
Yes, it was. He held it up too long.
Here's Devlin. That's a dangerous cross. Potter! Another great save! Well, if we expected a tight, tense affair with little in the way of goal-scoring chances, it looks as though we're going to be proved wrong.
Well, I think this is going to be a goal, really, by Potter, isn't it? He pushes it back into Kevin Poole. However, you have to say it was a great save by Kevin Poole, no question about that.
Good position, this free kick for Leicester. Hit in high, and the header almost on target. It was a really good effort that by Watts. Looked as though it might be sneaking into that top corner, but just over.
Yep, this is how it's going to come if it's going to come, isn't it? It's not a bad effort too.
Lennon, Taylor, Lennon again, and Leicester get a throw. He's loving this, Lennon, in the thick of everything. Claridge battles to keep possession and find Taylor. Then the cross by Grayson, a real up and under effort this. Heskey getting underneath it, and it came to Robbins, and it still could come, and it's missed somehow by Claridge, almost on the line.
Well, you can't really believe that, can you? Stevie Claridge had done well right from the start here, and now he's back in the middle and he's chasing the ball in. And, well, you don't really see how it can't go in. It's a good save, but you've got to score. You've got to make it count. That's 2 really great chances we've seen, one either end, and really those have got to go in.
There's Heskey. That's a foul. Or will it be a corner?
I think it's a corner. I think again Whittle, though, he went in well. I think Heskey's one of those players who you're going to have to tackle very hard, otherwise you're not going to knock him off the ball anyway.
He's a mountain of a man, isn't he? Mountain of a boy, 18.
18.
He got up a little bit too early, was playing it back across goal, and Claridge's header saved on the post by Prudo.
Yeah, Mark Prudo again, he's in fine form, isn't it? Stevie Walsh coming, good header there. Lovely little flick by Claridge, nothing wrong in that, good save.
Parker. Walsh coming in and headed away almost off the line there by Clarkson. Parker again. Chips it back into the danger area. Whittle got it clear. Lennon straight back in again. Taylor's there. And the header harmlessly wide.
Well, this was a carbon copy of what we saw about 10 minutes ago. Steve Walsh coming in at the back, getting a great header in and cleared off the line, but that's what he's there for.
Now, Grayson. Claridge did well. Scott Taylor again. Don't forget the ball. Grayson. Looking for Heskey, far post. And Prudo with a one-handed save. A deceiving sort of cross that could have beaten it.
It was, wasn't it? That's a backpedaling movement, but well saved by Prudo.
Well, we didn't concede a goal, Gary. We didn't play well in the first half at all. We upped the momentum second half. We looked very, very tired towards the end. We tried to throw everything at it, but we weren't able to break them down.
A quick thought about the second leg on Wednesday.
Yeah, we've got a great chance still. You know, we know that if we can score a goal in the match for a start, it gives us a great bonus. But even so, we're obviously disappointed that we haven't been able to break them down.
Parker again, chip forward. That looks a good ball. And a great claim from the Leicester supporters for a penalty as Taylor went down, but the referee says play on. Izzet wins it well. Now Claridge gets it back to Izzet. That's a splendid ball. Heskey's in a great position, far post. Oh, wonderful goalkeeping by Prudo. So important that for Stoke.
Yeah, good bit of goalkeeping by Mark Prudo. That came out perfectly. Leicester certainly looking the most dangerous at the moment. Gary Parker prodding the balls through, and the lads are willing to run for them up front.
Clarkson getting his foot right through that one, and Sheeran took it brilliantly. Wonderful control by Sheeran.
Lovely bit of football this. Ball is lifted long, but what a great bit of control by Mike Sheeran. Look at that, superb and a good hit.
Whitlow. Turn on by Taylor. Stoke have it back with Clarkson. Now Lennon for Leicester. Walsh to Parker. Excellent ball. Claridge. Oh, that's lovely play. Grayson. Izzet keeps the run going. Claridge has peeled away for him, but the ball, surprisingly, in the wind, almost caused the problem for Prudo.
Didn't it just?
Devlin. Poor ball. Walsh intercepted with ease. Taylor. There's one for Heskey to chase. He's done well. Heskey! Well, it was wide of target, but the strength and positional nous he showed was impressive.
Well, you have to say that Leicester actually are looking the better side at the moment and creating opportunities.
And these two great Midlands clubs fighting tooth and nail here for the right to go to Wembley and possibly into the Premiership. And nothing between them in the two games so far, but Leicester just getting ahead tonight perhaps. Here's Scott Taylor. Comes back to Parker. It's a good-looking ball. Heskey took it well and tried to slide it through to Taylor. Desperate defending again, this time by Clarkson, has given Leicester City a corner.
Yeah, desperate defending, but good defending. Leicester, without doubt, are the better team tonight, but they still haven't been able to break Stoke down.
Parker driving it in. Heskey got between the defenders. Comes back out. And Taylor couldn't quite get the ball down quickly enough. And the shot then driven in by Whitlow, who claimed, I think, it went off a Stoke man en route, but no corner has been given. It's a goal kick.
Yes, it's a big one for Mike Whitlow, this, isn't it? Comes straight in there.
Stoke City get us underway then for the second half of this second leg, and remember, we must have a result tonight. Stoke have let in only 15 goals at home this season. Only the champion Sunderland have conceded fewer goals than that in their home matches, but Leicester have got the best scoring record away from home in the division, and it's they who go on the attack first, with Heskey trying to get into a shooting position here and getting the ball across to Parker. Parker has scored! 30 seconds after the restart, Martin O'Neill's decision to restore Gary Parker to the Leicester team has paid off handsomely. And quite incredibly, it's the first goal that Parker has scored for almost 9 months. He scored in the first 3 matches of the season back in August, and none since.
Well, the roles were switched here. Heskey does the graft and makes up a beautiful cross. Gary Parker coming in on it. Goodbye.
A brilliant volley, and Gary Parker has provided the long-awaited breakthrough in this game. And what a vital goal it is, because it goes without saying that it's given Leicester advantage on the night. But remember, with the possibility of an away goal counting double after extra time, then basically Stoke now have to score twice to beat Leicester and go through to Wembley in the playoff final. That's how important Parker's goal is.
Beautifully struck goal.
And that will light the fire really in this game now. Sheeran going forward. Devlin drives it in, and that's a goal kick. Well, the Leicester bench were led on a merry jig by Martin O'Neill the moment that ball hit the back of the Stoke net. Clarkson with a long ball, straight at Watts. However, Sheeran was really up for that challenge and took it off Watts, and has got Sturridge to his right. Maybe he should have fed in. He decided to shoot.
He could have passed it, but he's turned inside, and actually it's turned out to be quite a good effort.
Parker just chips it through for Heskey. Claridge, the only man forward at the moment, but Taylor and Parker arriving. Good little trick there by Heskey, opens it up. A vital clearance by Sigurdsson. Otherwise it would have been good night to Stoke City. Now Carruthers. Can they make something out of that near miss? Carruthers. And still Carruthers. It's a great run by Carruthers. Well, you can see what he was trying to do, just trying to catch the keeper out on the near post. Good effort, really.
Yeah, Carruthers showing all that's good with Stoke City, taking the ball on, but just that final finish hasn't been there tonight.
Sigurdsson. This is Devlin. Caught in possession by Izzet. He's got Claridge in support here. This looks a dangerous break by Leicester City. Taylor absolutely storming forward, and he's done brilliantly here, Taylor. Can he clinch it?
Oh, that's a good tackle.
That looked like curtains for Stoke City, I have to say. But what a brilliant piece of defending, Jim.
Oh, this is a great tackle, this is. You think it's all over here because, oh, didn't he come in well?
Parker trying to urge one final effort from players and supporters alike, I think, with that gesture.
I think they're just consolidating at the back now.
And that's it, it's all over. Leicester City are at Wembley and into the playoff final for the 4th time in 5 years. A remarkable achievement by the club and also by the new management team in their first 4 months in charge. And Gary Parker's goal was the golden moment for Leicester City, which sends them back to Wembley again. And now, possibly, just 90 minutes away from a return to the Premiership.
Against all the odds, Martin O'Neill's men had made it to Wembley. Written off at the season's halfway mark when the new manager took over from Mark McGee, and written off when they failed to beat Stoke in the first leg. But this is a team that refuses to throw in the towel. A fighting quality that would prove invaluable once again at Wembley. For the fans, it was time for their annual day out, and the Blue Army made sure they enjoyed it to the full. Going to Wembley is an experience that never loses its attraction.
Hey, I like the hairstyle.
Thank you. It's a new style just for today.
Are they going to win?
Of course they are. Up to the Premiership next season, I think.
And how will they do there?
Excellently. Top of the league.
What are the strengths of Leicester City then?
Steve Claridge, Steve Walsh, defence, attack, the whole team.
So you can't lose, can you?
No, we're not going to lose. We'll never lose, and we won't lose today.
Lovely. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Who's the best player in the Leicester side?
Claridge.
Claridge! Yeah? Is he going to score today?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, that's trick, isn't he, mate?
Let's hope so, eh? Another great day for Leicester City, is it going to be?
Definitely. Definitely.
All the way.
All the way.
Struggling, be a hard match, be a bloody hard.
Even though Crystal Palace finished above you in the league?
No problems. We'll beat them today.
Where do you think the battle will depend? Midfield?
Yeah, well, it always stems from there, doesn't it? I mean, I think they've got a quality player in Houghton. I think if you can keep this lad quiet, he seems to be the hub and the guy that pulls the strings for Palace. I think if we can keep him quiet, and the young lad up front, what's his name, the new lad, is a bit lively up there for Palace. If we can keep them too quiet, then we can start moving forward. I think we've got enough players. I think what might come into play a little bit here today is that we've been here before. We know we've got new players as well out there, but there's quite a few players that's experienced this, and I think the Palace are a young side, and you never know, it just might get to them, 75,000, 78,000 in here. It's some occasion, whatever you say, so with our lads' little bit of experience of the Wembley finals, it might just carry us through.
Predominantly red kit, and it'll be Leicester who get this 1996 First Division playoff final underway. Scott Taylor accidentally catching Tuttle in the face then as he tried to control that high ball, and the first free kick to Palace. Two contrasting styles of play and very different playing systems today. Leicester will begin the match with only one recognised striker in Steve Claridge. Daniel Heskey would be an option to join him later in the game if necessary. And Claridge will have a lot of work to do, but it's something he thrives on. Here's Taylor for Leicester, back to Lennon, looking for Heskey. It was a good ball as well.
Yeah, some good build-up play there. Good build-up play. Lennon, nice little ball inside the fullback. Big, powerful Heskey sets off. Can't quite get full power on the shot. But you notice every time a ball's knocked up to Claridge, the blonde-headed Taylor really bonks on into the front. There he is again. And I didn't recognise him, to be fair, when he came out. I think I made him man of the match last year in this same game. But when he came out with the blonde hair, I didn't recognise him. But you'll see plenty of him making forward dashes.
There's Lennon. His bright mop of ginger hair is genuine, unlike Taylor, who dyed his hair as a joke. So he wanted to get noticed. So his manager said, score the winning goal, that'll get you noticed. Ender. Clearance by Watts, advanced to Friedman. Oh, Lennon did really well there. Claridge tries to set Heskey down the centre, and Martin took a bit of a risk then. He was waiting for the ball to come back into the area so he could pick it up. Hopkin. This is Edworthy. Strong attacking player down the right, but ran straight into the mountain of Walsh then. Here's Taylor. Saw the break by Parker in the inside right position. Good defending by Brown. He was on loan from West Ham. Pitcher caught in possession by the challenge from Izzard. And he gets it back from Taylor and does well.
Sharp, incisive, but could have taken it on Owen. I mean, he's done very, very well. Could have run that in closer. The effort was good, but I feel he threw away a very, very good chance there. At the moment, for me, Leicester are looking far happier than Palace. Palace haven't settled at all. Leicester look as if they're really up for it, and they look as if they're sharp, and they look as if they've made up their mind that they're not going to give Palace any sort of time on the ball at all.
As Lennon proved then with that challenge, but the referee decides it was a foul this time. The free kick was taken too quickly. They'll have to go back again. Smashing little player, Neil Lennon. Good passing game here by Leicester City. Something that was their hallmark in the early weeks of the season under Mark McGee. Martin O'Neill's given them greater strength and discipline in a defensive sense. And a team that was renowned for letting in goals has been very tight in their run-up to this playoff final, in which they won 6 of their last 8 games. Ender, caught there by Grayson, who'll be fortunate to escape a yellow card for that. It was a quite deliberate body check.
Well, that's not even an argument, as you say. Very lucky. Also very lucky. Started mouthing off at the referee, and I think David Allison's been a little bit lenient with him there.
Yes.
A league game definitely would have got booked on that one, no question.
There was no yellow card. Grayson a bit fortunate. He's now got to face the free kick. Hopkin being closely marked by Whitlow. It slid in short to Edworthy. It's typical Claridge. He works and works. Edworthy. That's a dangerous looking ball by Edworthy. And Heskey was in there, so too was Watts with the final clearance. The first real moment of danger to the Leicester goal there. Here's Roberts. Hopkin. Houghton. It's a good looking ball through, and it's in! Andy Roberts scores! Palace are in front.
And Kevin Poole won't believe that at Wembley a ball could bobble over him from that. All culminating in some good play between Houghton and Roberts. Roberts brings the ball out from the back to start with. Plays Houghton in, Houghton finds him back, and look at it, a bobble at Wembley.
It's the first goal he scored for Crystal Palace, and what a moment to open his account, and what a venue. Heskey trying to get things back immediately, and almost did when he found Claridge on the near post.
That was a magic little ball in there from Heskey. Claridge was only an inch short of equalising.
Well, Leicester City went down against Derby a couple of years ago and came back to win 2-1. They were 3-0 down in that magical match against Swindon when they came back to 3-3 and eventually lost 4-3. So they won't panic about this, but obviously it's not the start they wanted.
That's good feet. I mean, I've seen this goalkeeper make some miraculous saves through the season, Paul. I don't think the bobbles helped him at all there.
He's got away from all of them. Brilliant run by Endar, and that was so tempting for Friedman. It looked as though he only had to get a foot in the way, and that would have been a second goal.
Well, it was brilliant play from Endar, and I'm sure the Dougie Friedman could have slid in at that one. That looks an absolute stick-on for him if he'd have slid at it. There was a defender in his way, which may have meant that he got a late view of the ball on him, but that looks an excellent chance for me. Some great work by Endar here out on the right wing.
Well, how important the miss could that turn out to be? Wicklow coming forward for Leicester, who are a goal behind. Heskey. He's lost Roberts, he's big and strong. Can't shake him off the ball easily. Taylor. Now Lennon, is camped out on the right touchline. And it goes instead towards Taylor. It wasn't the best ball. Edworthy with an easy clearance. However, it's won back, and this is Taylor trying to set it up for Parker. Good challenge by Roberts. Is it? It's a disappointing cross. But Leicester are relieved that they're not chasing 2 goals.
I mean, this is a good surge, good strong surge. Plays it early off the outside of his left foot here, and he just feeds it with his right foot, sorry. No, perhaps I'm doing Friedman a bit of an injustice there. He probably saw it late.
Everyone marked, so he had to go square to Lennon. Taylor's found some room in the middle. He loves running at defenders, that's his strength. Fantasy shooting isn't necessarily as impressive, but he can certainly forge openings with his ability to take people on like that. 6 goals he's got this season. Showed the ball to Friedman then, but he's a calm character, Julian Watts. Very cool player. Here's Grayson. And now Parker. Taylor's made a good run down the centre, and Parker finds him brilliantly. Well, I think Palace were expecting an offside flag. It never came, and that's a missed chance.
Certainly Edworthy was looking for offside, because he could have just walked in and marked Taylor very comfortably there. I think probably Edworthy had a case, but I mean, he'd left it very tight. I think Dave Bassett would have been a lot happier if he'd have gone and tidied the danger up himself. Not relied on a linesman now.
It was a good tackle by Wicklow when danger threatened, and he's encouraged to go on as Palace back off.
Now, whether it's something that's just happened in the course of play, Alan, but Heskey's gone right into a central striking position now, and Taylor looks to be occupying the left side of the left wing.
Young Quinn wouldn't allow him to turn, but here's Izzet now. And the final ball from Mazzy Izzet has been disappointing so far.
I think the very fact that Heskey's gone into the central striking position has given them a lot more force, and it's also given them targets to hit from the middle of the field. I felt the lineup they started with more of a containing lineup, with Heskey out on the left. Now, of course, a goal down, they've got to force the game, they've got to chase the game a little bit.
Claridge swinging one in dangerously, and that was good goalkeeping by Nigel Martin. He didn't dare take his eyes off that one, because Izzet was flying in behind him. Always been one of the best keepers around, Nigel Martin. He's certainly one of the best outside the Premiership. Heskey goes in hard to win it back. It comes to Parker, and unusually for him, he's lost possession. Brand for Crystal Palace.
We need to put some passes in here. This is the first time they get a little bit of free breathing space for some time.
Hopkin for them. Dear, that was excellent work by Watts. Now Whitlow. There's one for Heskey to chase, and the goalkeeper's come an awful long way out, but he knew what he was doing. Palace now will be anxious to get through to half-time with their lead intact. Quinn under pressure from Lennon. Brown comes to help him out. Typically determined play by little Neil Lennon, the Northern Irishman, who's a very competitive little player, passes the ball well, and his tremendous attitude and appetite for the game. Gary Parker's got a bit of room. And again, 21 of the 22 players compressed into the one half of the field. Heskey tried to make the contact there, and Nigel Martin used his considerable physique, but the referee's given a corner when everyone was expecting a goal kick. And Martin O'Neill trying to make his voice heard above 70,000 others. Is it just setting it up again? Parker back to Lennon, and it goes dangerously. Still danger here. Oh, that was a great chance. And Claridge and Martin O'Neill share their disappointment that it didn't go in. Everyone hesitated.
Yeah, I think there was a suggestion that they were looking for offside. To be fair to Claridge, he really didn't know where he was. The ball's coming over his shoulder. He can't focus on where the goal is or where the keeper is. He's just got to try and get a helping hand or a helping foot on it, if you like. Yeah, their best chance of the game, but commiserations to Claridge there. He wouldn't have known where he was then.
It was indeed the final opportunity of the half. It went begging, and that means that Andy Roberts' goal still separates the sides as we reach the halfway mark here at Wembley. Martin O'Neill, the Leicester City manager, is with Phil Metham.
Martin, your puzzle would seem to be turning possession into goals.
Absolutely. We've had 90% of the game, they've had one attack and they've scored a goal. But however, we just have to be a bit more incisive in the final third.
How long can you be patient?
Well, we're patient. We've had the ball all the time. It's just a matter of getting in, turning it into a goal.
Martin, thank you.
This match, fascinatingly poised, is about to go into the second 45 minutes. Incidentally, should it be necessary today, we would have extra time and indeed penalties if needed. The match and the final place in the Premiership has to be settled this afternoon. Leicester now attacking from left to right, all in blue to remind you. And Whitlow straight on the attack for them. Heskey to his left, Claridge in the centre. Houghton gets it away, and the pattern already set, as it was for the final 15 minutes of the first half, with Palace funneled back into their own half. Walsh with the long ball. Taylor is chasing it. Claridge gets up well. Cleared by Edworthy. Pitcher. The layoff by Friedman to Houghton. Endar's made a good run, and he slides it brilliantly through to Friedman, who was caught there, and he's furious, and he's probably got a case, to be honest, because Walsh deliberately caught him.
That was much better build-up from Palace, though, wasn't it? Incisive play by Edworthy to start with, Houghton, and then a nice latching on then from Friedman. And as you say, very unfortunate to have the move stop when it was in full flow. But that's the sort of thing I would expect from Palace. I'd expect them to keep possession better when they attack.
No caution, incidentally, for Walsh as the free kick is slid in quickly. That looks a well-practiced routine, and it almost produced a goal. In fact, it wouldn't have counted anyway because the linesman's flag, spotted instantly by Ron Atkinson, I have to say, is raised. It would have been offside. But what a good move.
Yes, quick, bright thingy, a nice little ball played at the back of the wall, and you know, that was marginal. Linesman certainly had his flag up as soon as the move was taken, but it was marginal.
Leicester temporarily down to 10 men. They have a player having treatment off the pitch following that scramble. I think it's Mike Whitlow. He's as tough as they come. He'll be back. Heskey has Parker to his left. It's a good run by Heskey. We've got two exciting players in Emil Heskey and George Endar on the Palace side who revel in running at people. It's still one of the most exciting sights in the game. Whitlow's back. Leicester have a throw in. And Parker will launch it in towards Walsh, edge of the 6-yard box. Tuttle got there first, however. Hopkin hooks it clear. The weather has deteriorated again. It's supposed to be May. It's a bit like November at the moment. Cold and windy. Lennon. Taken off him by Brown. Endar going down the left. Oh, that was a good tackle. Well played, Simon Grayson. Brown, Endar again. Oh, tremendous effort, and what a brilliant save by Kevin Poole.
That for me is the best bit of football there's been, Alan. Good little link-up play, and here you see somebody very positive outside of his left foot. Hardly gets a look at goal. He's hooking that all the way to goal, and that's a great save.
That has kept Leicester's hopes alive. That was going in, no question. Tuttle tries to get the little touch on from the corner. It's come out to Brown. And back in it goes towards Tuttle. And the header creates danger, and Poole has made another brilliant save, this time from Friedman. Well, in the semi-finals against Stoke, he did a similar thing early on there. He made 2 saves in the space of a couple of minutes, and he's done it again in the final.
Well, that's good link-up play there. Good play from Palace. They've been particularly effective on their set plays, and that was a result of one of them. And good volley from Friedman. To be fair, it's actually gone right down the keeper's throat.
Quinn, who's had a quietly effective game, the 19-year-old, with the clearance that gives Leicester a throw-in, and Parker the opportunity to wind the arms up again and launch it in towards Walsh, who's trundling forward. That's where it goes, and he tucks it on dangerously, and Claridge tries to get in there. Is it? Strange ball that. And in the end, the defender, who was Hopkin on that occasion, did well.
You certainly get the feeling that Leicester's best chance of a goal is something when Walsh is about. A long throw, corner, free kick, something where he can get his head on it and cause mayhem in the Palace defence.
Heskey trying to do just that. Pitcher brings it out for Palace. Could be a long half for Crystal Palace if Leicester can carry on like this. Parker. Now he can hit the ball. Tuttle inadvertently, I think, headed it away. I don't think he knew much about that. Lennon. Watts got his foot right through the clearance. Taylor with a lovely little touch onto Claridge. He's got Heskey ahead of him. And slipped at the vital moment. Walsh, ooh, that was a bit short. And unfortunately for Leicester,
that's what they're doing first half, Palace. He was anxious there, Hopkin. He got all the time in the world to just keep the ball. Now what he's done, he's put Leicester in a position to sort of spring again.
Walsh gets a bit more meat on it this time. Heskey. It's just that last little ball with Heskey, but when you consider he's only 18, you can't expect the completed article, can you?
Yeah, he's also running, he's got to lose a marker, then he's running onto a spare defender, of course, with Roberts sitting behind the two, Tuttle and Quinn.
That's how young he is. He can still remember being a ball boy. It's Leicester's throw. Terrific atmosphere. Leicester sold over 38,000 tickets. Palace sold over 33,000. And this is the fans' final, if you like, along with the Coca-Cola Cup, where the genuine supporters get the tickets. And it always makes for a much better atmosphere. Endar on a run here. Lennon got back so hard. And that's very calm play again by Watts, who's a real classy performer. Parker. That's a great ball. Claridge. Heskey and Grayson in support. Grayson. And the little bounce took it away from danger. And Leicester see a good chance go begging.
Gary's entitled to be annoyed there. That fizzled out for nothing, and Gary Parker's through ball really should have put them in with at least a strike on goal.
Brown getting forward for Crystal Palace. Edworthy. Oh dear, that wasn't the easiest ball to control from Friedman, but he did. Pitcher. Got it clear by Walsh, and then Whitlow getting it away from danger to Taylor. Watts, I'm not sure he wanted that ball then from Taylor. Taylor again. And the space opens up, and he gallops into it. Couldn't quite slide it through to the onrushing Aussie, is it? But Leicester are turning up the heat here. Couldn't quite get there, but it's come back to him. Parker. Is it on the left? Whitlow making a storming run forward. Parker. Not quite the ball he intended, but he can try again. Whitlow. Claridge. It's done well, Claridge. Sets it up for Lennon. Great run. Claridge is onside. Tuttle got it away from almost on top of his own goalkeeper.
I don't know whether it's my imagination, Alan, but I get the distinct feeling that one or two of those Palace defenders are starting to feel very leg-weary. Whether it's the tension getting through to one or two of them, the younger ones particularly, or whether it's the amount of effort the season's taken out of it, but they certainly don't look as sharp or as incisive as they were.
Grayson. As he headed that one away, Tuttle just seemed to pull up as though he twinged his hamstring then. Claridge. Taylor. Heskey gets in! Oh, brilliant save by Nigel Martin!
From their first really good cross of the day in open play. Super crossing, good first time early ball. That's the ones the strikers like. There's big Heskey, go on, get your back on that. Nigel Martin just comfortably turns it over, but that's better. That'll give them the impetus now. Crystal Palace have now got to really hang on.
Parker hits it in long. Walsh coming in. Heskey's in there with him. Actually got in each other's way. And Friedman's done well here, and he's got support from Houghton. And Lennon has done brilliantly there for Leicester, because it looked really odds on a second goal. Houghton is screaming at Friedman.
He's furious. He knows that if Friedman was aware and lays a ball across him, he's going in one-on-one on the keeper, and Hopkins going to be lucky here.
Foul by Hopkins on Taylor, and he might be the first player caution in the game.
Any sort of awareness there from Friedman, and Ray Houghton's he's looking down the barrel at the keeper. Yeah, he's got no cause for complaint on that at all, has he?
Hopkins becomes the first player in the game cautioned.
And of course it gives them a chance to load the thing in again for the big guys. They're all up there now, the brigade's up there.
And astonishingly, it was placed straight onto a Palace head, but it comes back again. Taylor's cross, that looks good. Walsh is still there. Well, I wonder if, as Ron Atkinson suggested, this is maybe getting close to the moment when Steve Walsh should stay up there.
I think I would if I was them now. They don't really need too many defenders. because Palace haven't got too many players up front anyway, and Lennon's shown there from the last one. There's the big header. I thought he'd have gone closer with that one.
Walsh for Leicester City, who trail 1-0. Taylor on to Lennon. It's done well, Lennon. Parker on the far post, gets the header in, but it was never going to beat Nigel Martin.
No, full marks for Edworthy there. He got back and made things difficult for Parker, because Parker's quite useful in the air in that sort of situation. Good deep cross here. Edworthy just does enough to make sure Gary can't get a clean header on it.
Watts again defends with such assurance. Is it? Walsh. It's continued his run down the left, and Walsh with a glorious ball sets him clear. That could be a penalty. It is. They're celebrating already, but there's a rather important kick to come yet. But a brilliant ball by the captain Walsh, and Muzzy is it. Determined, was tripped by Edworthy. The referee had no hesitation.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Edworthy made a challenge there. Tackling, chasing back like that. Is it still had people to go by?
Gary Parker, never afraid to take responsibility, will take the kick. And a level!
And I don't think anyone, Alan, can begrudge them that. They've worked, they've drove, they've fought, and they've got the reward for it. And it's a safe bet the calmest man on the field there would have been Gary Parker.
Absolutely. He was always first in the queue, I think, for Villa when the European penalties were taken.
Always will take responsibility, and no matter how his game is the sort of player that will never shirk anything.
Get the ball, says Martin O'Neill, get the ball.
There seems certainly more spring in the Leicester legs than it does in the Palace, and understandably so. They've come back from the dead now, and they really are the team controlling the game.
Heskey. That's a corner off Tottle. Well, when they beat Derby County here a couple of years ago, it was a late goal by Steve Walsh that won them that match. Will history repeat itself? Tremendous support from this end of the stadium for Leicester. Tremendous header as well, but it was cleared even as Walsh had his arms up celebrating. Martin gets it away again brilliantly. Grayson, good play by Friedman though. Pitcher onto Houghton. It's back in the balance, this one. Roberts. Edworthy. Heskey gets back to deny Roberts any room, but here's Endar. That's a useful ball, cleared by Whitlow though. Palace's first real spell of possession this for a long time. Brown. There's one for Houghton to chase in the box. Lennon got it away, he's been outstanding. Parker. No targets at the moment. But Heskey makes the run down the centre now, and brilliant work by Nigel Martin. He had to improvise then. Seven minutes to go. But it's not over yet. Edworthy. It's done well. Ever a man wanted to do well, it's him as well, having conceded the penalty. Claridge, though, has it back for Leicester. 4 minutes remaining. Whitlow. There's one for Heskey to chase, and chase he will. And it was a determined chase that forced Roberts into the error and gives Leicester a corner. These fans are trying to will the ball into the back of the net now at this Leicester City end as The captain comes forward again. And Walsh wins it. Off the line. Off the line by Carl Beard. Parker. In it goes again, and the keeper with a very good catch. Well played, Nigel Martin.
It's almost inevitable, you think. I think even the players think that. The ball's there, nice height on it, that Walsh is going to get on the end of it. And I must admit, when he's lobbed it over the keeper, I thought that was going in. And well, that's what the lad stationed there for Viet.
Brown. Roberts, and no one really showing for him. Edworthy, straight to Whitlow though. Watts. Bit loose that one, gave Brown the opportunity to intercept, and now Endar. Difficult ball for Watts, but he's been hugely impressive and got it away, but here's Pitcher. Taylor with the interception. Lennon. Parker. And this is Heskey. Heskey was being pulled back there, and Tuttle will be in trouble, I think. He certainly conceded a free kick and probably will get a booking as well.
Oh, he'll definitely get a booking. I mean, I think it's just a question of... I said earlier, I think that he's very, very tired now, and he's had to fight and battle and contest against Heskey. Although he's only 18, he's a big lad. And I think they just see he's out on his feet, I think, Tuttle, at the moment.
Hardly surprising, the hard work those defenders have contributed. Parker chips it up there. Nigel Martin with the safest and simplest catch you can imagine. We're into the final minute at Wembley in the NZ League playoff final for the First Division, playing for a place in the Premiership next season. And the teams, Crystal Palace and Leicester, are level at 1-1. And that means that extra time is looming. Houghton. Heskey did well there. Parker did even better. Taylor. With a couple of minutes to stoppage time, I would think, as Taylor goes on. It's a great run by Taylor, but the final ball wasn't.
The run was positive. He got into that little bit of no man's land. He didn't know whether to stick or bust, shoot or stand one to the back post. Good driving run here, right to the heart of the defence. There he gets excited a little bit. I think he may try to have spotted Claridge in there.
90 minutes are complete. Extra time. Seconds away, perhaps. Depends on the referee. He's the only man who knows how much we've got to add. And of course, we'll have the whole of extra time and the penalties if it comes to that. There's Claridge. Can he make it a dramatic late winner? He can't.
That's the sort of ball he's been wanting himself all match. It was a great ball in, really, but he should have been on the end of it.
And when Roberts looked up then, there was simply no one to hit. And that's been the problem for Palace.
It's been like a blue tide, hasn't it, second half after the first 5 minutes. Those couple of incidents when Poole made the saves, and then it's virtually been non-stop attack from Leicester.
Everyone perhaps now geared to extra time, but it takes just a couple of seconds to score a goal. Claridge. This is Lennon for Leicester. Whitlow hammers it forward. Claridge will chase here. And calm defending by young Quinn. That must have been a moment of anxiety for him. A minute and a half of added time, and that's it. In fact, the referee calls a halt. The 90 minutes has finished all square. Crystal Palace getting the early breakthrough with a goal by Andy Roberts, and then enduring something like, no exaggeration, 60-70 minutes of all-out pressure from Leicester City, who finally got their equaliser from the penalty spot, scored by Gary Parker. Minutes, 2 periods of 15 minutes, remember, and it's all about nerves as much as anything now, I think, and it's all about psychology and what the two respective managers were able to do in that few minutes between the end of normal time and the start of extra time. Obviously, psychologically, Leicester, having had so much of the play and having come back from a goal down, must be in the driving seat, but who knows? The manager opted to use any further substitutes during the break, incidentally. A late challenge there from Julian Watts. And I think that might earn him a caution.
I rather think Crystal Palace might have fancied the advantage there, you know. The little flick inside of putting it out very, very much into a favourable position. He's inside the fullback, running in on goal there.
Julian Watts, the first Leicester player to be cautioned after Tuttle, Veert and Hopkin had gone into his book from the Palace side. Palace have a free kick. With the words of Dave Bassett ringing in their ears, he told them that they were lucky to have this period of extra time, that they were outplayed. Now go out and win it, was his instruction. Well, he was honest, and I think he was accurate.
I'm just a little bit surprised that Dave hasn't used his subs, you know. I can understand Martin O'Neill keeping his team intact because they're the team on the up, but there's a lot of tired, or appear to be tired players, both mentally and physically, in the Palace side.
George Endar.
Certainly thought he'd got to try somehow or other to reinforce Pitcher and Houghton in midfield. Either by bringing on new personnel or telling his flank defenders that they've got to push on and try and push the midfield or help the midfield a little bit more.
Houghton getting it forward to Roberts. Endar. Brown. Houghton just teases it on to Pitcher. It's a good move this by Crystal Palace. Danger threatens as Friedman's shot is blocked. Is it? Heskey brought down by Roberts, free kick.
Been a handful, hasn't he, Heskey, since he's gone up the middle. He's shown great strength, great target play, and that's very, very clever free kick. Very sharp and incisive.
Parker inches it out to Taylor on the right. 3 men in the penalty area. For Leicester, that is. Parker chipping it into Claridge. Taylor. Good looking ball, and it comes to Lennon. Shot well blocked. Parker again, hustled out of it, but Whitlow comes to help him. He didn't realise he had it then. Parker.
He's played at Wembley a few times, Gary Parker, you know, and I bet he's not enjoyed himself ever as much as today. Virtually, him and Lennon for me have virtually ran the game.
Whitlow swings one in. That should be the goalkeeper's ball. Didn't make the best job of it, though. Still, he got it away. That was the chief priority. Martin O'Neill delighted with his players' efforts in that 90 minutes. He told us that he just wanted more of the same, and they would have to win it. Claridge getting held, surely, by Tuttle.
Got to be patient there, Tuttle. That's what I talked about Claridge first half. He's an awkward customer. He gets under the defenders, he gets backs into them, and so forth, and that's when defenders have got to be patient, particularly Tuttle, who's already had a booking.
Leicester have the free kick. Parker looks good. Walsh couldn't reach it. Tuttle did really well. Taylor knocked away by Pitcher. And Brown just couldn't keep it in play. The pressure continues then. Claridge just trying to shake off his marker here and finds Parker. Heskey gets it back from Walsh. And Heskey drives one in along the ground.
The ironic thing is, you know, apart from the penalty, that's the first real shot I can remember that Martin's had to really do something on. Everything else has been very much bread and butter, hasn't it, for him?
A couple of headers, and there was that goal line clearance, but yes, it wasn't him. Yeah. Watts comes to win it, and find is it Lennon. There's one for Whitlow to run onto. Lennon. This is Parker. Couldn't find Heskey. Quinn to Endar. And he's won his side of throw-in and given them a little bit of relief, which they need. Crystal Palace, who bobbed around between the divisions, 4 seasons at the top, then they were relegated, promoted, relegated again. Can they complete the sequence with another promotion? Or will it be Leicester who go back at the first time of asking? Leicester's 4th playoff this, remember? And they've lost 2 of them. Parker. Claridge trying to get in behind defender, but the goalkeeper, Nigel Martin, was like an extra defender. Grayson doing well. Now Watts. Walsh. Whitlow. Roberts has been one of the best players the Palace have had today, and he defended well then. Viet goes into Walsh again. Another thunderous collision between the two.
I think you'd have to say he's been the best player.
Yeah.
He's kept them in the game with his goal, and he's kept them in the game with his, if you like, stickability at the back.
Lennon searches out Heskey. No one really in the box at the moment, so he's got to hold up till support arrives. Parker's in the middle, couldn't pick him out. Lennon with the volley, good effort. Oh, Martin just about held on. Unlucky.
Didn't quite get hold of it right, Lennon, but neither did Martin, as it.
Huge kick from the Palace keeper. Watts was underneath it. Is it? Heskey runs into trouble. Veert's a big, strong customer, and he's certainly put himself about. And he's beaten Whitlow well here. And Endar came flying in on the far post when it had eluded Friedman and had a chance.
Good work from the Australian. Good deep cross. They say Endar just can't get around the back of this. If he just pulled away a little bit earlier, perhaps he'd have been coming at a better angle, but that would really put the cat amongst the pigeons there. Arms, yeah. About time we had this, I think. And that would be the ideal one. That would be 1 for 1.
Dougie Freedman goes off. Bruce Dyer comes on. He scored 14 goals for Palace this season, including 2, importantly, when they won 3-2 up at Leicester in October. And I understand he has a good scoring record against Leicester. Brown. Players' first opportunity. He slipped over. Walsh with the clearance, and it's a tremendous ball as well to Heskey. And still Heskey. That could easily have been a penalty again, but the referee, who was perfectly placed, I have to say, said no, play on. Be interesting to have another look at that.
Well, my first reaction was it was a penalty.
9-2.
Like you say, the referee shows him inside here. He drives. No, Referee, spot on. He's actually trod on Tuttle. Great decision. Mind you, he was nearer than us.
But yeah, you've got to praise the referee for that.
Yep.
Kind of thing that can easily fool people further away from the action than the official. Claridge to Lennon. Taylor. Still running. Where does he find it from? Run into trouble as it happens.
Yeah, he's got himself into a lot of promising positions there. Here's a goal scorer with a cup pedigree.
Yeah, Mark Robbins, who played here against Palace, of course, for Manchester United 6 years ago. And about to come on now for Scott Taylor, who's run himself into the ground. And it's no reflection on him, I'm sure, that he's the man being replaced. He's just got very little left, although that last run he managed to find something. Mark Robbins, £1 million signing from Norwich just over a year ago, will take his place.
Yeah, I think what we'll see now, I think actually that's a positive step. I think that Leicester have gone for the game now. They're going to try and definitely win it and not bother with penalties if they can avoid it. Issett's gone across to the right-hand side where he started the game. Heskey's gone to where he started the game on the left-hand side. And Robbins has gone up alongside Claridge.
5 minutes of the first period of extra time remaining. Still no addition to the scoreline. Claridge did really well then. Parker to Lennon. Those two have played brilliantly in the middle of the field for Leicester. Whitlow. And the chance opens up for Whitlow, but again it was on that right foot. It's going to be another change made by Palace now. Simon Roger waiting to come on. No one's quite sure who's coming off. This new style electronic numbering is all very well. That's the sun shining on it, then you can't read it. David Topple, the centre-back, is coming on to be replaced by Simon Roger, who in fact was pretty regular, played the last few games just before the playoff semi-finals, and was an ever-present in Palace's last promotion year. Houghton. Heskey was strong. Well, that's good skill and all. And off he goes. What a brilliant run by Heskey. And typically, Palace's man of the match, Roberts, denied him. It's just about the end of this first period now of extra time. Lennon got in the way of Edworthy, did well. And that's the end of the first half of extra time. A slightly different setting, a very different prize, but on Wednesday in Rome, the European Champions League final went to extra time, and that, in the end, had to be decided by penalties. Heskey. The whole season rests on what happens here in the next 15 minutes and maybe the penalties to follow. Simon Roger back on the field, but clearly he's not going to play any effective part. Don't think he'll be taking any penalties if they get one.
He looks as if he's struggling for his life at the moment, limping away very, very badly. That's a blow. You know, you throw somebody on, that just shows how the best laid plans can get thrown out of everything. He comes on, fresh legs for extra time. Within a minute, a rash challenge leaves him virtually, by the look of it, a passenger.
He must be cursing Dave Bassett. It's the kind of thing that no one obviously can foresee. Dave Tuttle, who was tired but physically fit, is sitting on the bench next to his manager now, when he would dearly, dearly love him out there.
Now, he also had a responsibility on corners, Tuttle, to take Walsh. You just wonder if they get any set plays, who'll take Walsh now.
There's a good ball forward for Heskey, but Nigel Martin has not missed a thing really in his sweeper's role. Foul on Lennon by Endar, who's also in trouble now. George Endar, he's limping. Well, it would be an understatement to say there are some weary limbs out on that field. Izzet seems to keep running though. Good tackle on him. Heskey offside against Robbins. On he goes through the pain barrier. Well, justice doesn't always get meted out in the right directions in football, but I'm sure most neutral observers this afternoon will say if there is any justice, then Leicester deserve that place in the Premiership. Can Robbins give it to them here? It was a clever effort, but Nigel Martyn did have the ball covered, I think.
That was excellent play between Parker and Robbins. Great little cross run here, and a beautiful ball played into the space for him just to run onto. Doesn't need a look. Hooks the keeper. I'm not as convinced as you are about Martyn. I think if that had been closer on the target with a bit of loop on it, it'd have been scrambling.
Well, Claridge. Parker with a lovely ball. Grayson. And a strange sort of clearance by Roberts. It's a corner. There's a sense of anticipation as Steve Walsh begins his run forward for this Leicester City corner.
And as I say, he's going in against without his marker this time. Tuttle's been his detailed marker all match.
In goes Walsh with a tremendous header. Roberts got it clear. Parker taken off him by Houghton, who runs and runs and stops the corner. But he's lost out. Parker. Well, when all else fails, Nigel Martyn has been an absolute rock. And it was a good throw out as well. Endar using his pace. Walsh using his nous. Izzet. Claridge. Well played, Claridge. That's a useful ball. Heskey coming in far post, and George Endar got there ahead of him. Corner. Leicester will not want the lottery of penalty kicks. No matter how well you've played in the match or extra time, anything can happen in that situation. They will want the winner, and they want it now. Walsh. Awkward one for him to head this time, and Pitch has turned it straight back. Walsh has gone down, I think, with a bit of cramp, as suddenly Palace break clear, and they've got extra men over here as well. Beard. Dyer, the man in possession. Lennon takes him on, still Dyer. It's gone well, and pulls it back to Houghton. Great effort. Now Pitcher. Dyer again. Palace believe they can win it still. Poole goes in and just got a fingertip to that one as Carl Beard came flying in. It's a corner. Well, this has been a tremendous advert for the Ensley First Division this game. It's been a real spectacle, an exciting match with a lot of good football played as well. Roberts. That's a goal kick.
Very neatly worked corner. Roberts, for once, loses his composure.
Claridge. Taken off him by the youngster. And he can be proud of his performance today, Robert Quinn. Another change in the offing here. There can only be one, of course, because Palace have used their substitutes. And it's the captain, Steve Walsh, who is replaced by Colin Hill, and that can only be, of course, because Steve Walsh just has nothing left to offer, I assume, because they'd normally have to drag him off. The Northern Ireland international, Hill, takes his place. Maybe Hill's a better penalty taker. That could be a factor. It's got to be the players on the field at the end who take the penalties, remember. Houghton for Crystal Palace. 2 minutes on the watch before the penalty shootout to decide a place in the Premiership. Dyer. Going nowhere really. And Leicester have the throw. Difficult to know when we haven't had a winner yet, Ron, but man of the match contenders.
From Palace, I think you've got to go with Roberts. You've got to say Roberts has been their player. He's defended well. I mean, Martin's done okay, but he hasn't really had to make too many spectacular saves. Kept tidy. But for me, on the Palace side, Roberts has defended well and scored the goal that's kept them in there. But I think the key area definitely has been the Leicester midfield. And you can toss up. It's a toss-up between Neil Lennon, who I think's had an exceptional game, kept the continuity going, won back tackles. But I also think the lad has taken the responsibility and scored the goal, kept the game flowing with some very good passes. And I'd give it Gary Park today, but by a hair's breadth from Lennon. Could be a toss-up between either. I think the goals actually swayed me.
Houghton getting it forward. The ball breaks to Beard. Beard's shot is blocked by Hill. That's his first contribution, and an important one. Houghton. Roberts. Good tackle by Whitlow. Here's Parker, the man of the match. Heskey. And Heskey brought down. That'll be a booking for Brown. Now, I'm not sure what's happening here because Zelko Kalatz, the substitute goalkeeper, is coming on to take Kevin Poole's place, and obviously some conversations has gone on the bench there, I would think, and maybe Kalatz says, look, I am the king when it comes to penalty shootouts, you get me on there and I'll win you this match. It's the only thing I can imagine that's happened.
Well, he's a big lad, and whether they think he fills the goals, you know, when looks a bit more intimidating when penalties are being taken. I'm surprised at, because Poole's always given me the impression that he's an excellent reaction keeper.
Well, but that could be the winner from Claridge. It is! Stevie Claridge has given Leicester a place in the Premiership. And Martin O'Neill's masterstroke, in the most unexpected way, has paid off. And the man he signed for £1 million has scored a goal that's worth a lot more than that. Stevie Claridge hits the back of the net, and that means that Leicester are back in the Premiership.
That is almost a replica of the Cantona goal, isn't it? In the cup final, where he's composed himself and hit it. Great strike, great timing, and as you so rightly said, what a great substitution. Can't help thinking that the delay when the substitute was made, because we were confused whether the referee had blown for time.
He has
there
now.
It is now.
It's all over, and Leicester City take their place in the Premiership, and there is not a shadow of a doubt that they deserve it. It was a cruel, cruel way for Nigel Martin and Crystal Palace to lose out in the end, when they must have felt they were going to at least have an opportunity from the penalty spot. But in terms of the 90 minutes and the half an hour of extra time, justice for once in this crazy game has been done. Leicester City go back to where they belong. And Stevie Claridge, whose doctor told him weeks ago, stop playing, you're doing yourself no good, the thyroid problem is going to get worse before it gets better. He said, no, I'm carrying on. And he has carried on and scored the winning goal at Wembley. John Robertson, former Nottingham Forest teammate of Martin O'Neill, now part of his backroom staff, Gary Parker, whose penalty got them back into the game. Well, frankly, they were never out of this game, even at 1 down. And Martin O'Neill, who was being booed and derided by some Leicester City fans just a few weeks ago, they staged a demonstration after a home defeat by Sheffield United, is now their hero. What a dramatic end to a wonderful match. And Steve Walsh will not be allowed to go without a handshake every step of the way. And Captain Fantastic, as they call him at Filbert Street, leads his players to receive the trophy, but more importantly than that, to receive a place back amongst the big boys. Michael Alcock, the managing director of Ensley Insurance, hands over the trophy, and listen to this noise.
The playoffs are not popular with everyone, but when you win at Wembley, there's no better way to end a season. The perfect end to a long, dramatic campaign. Leicester City are back in the Premiership at the first attempt.
Yeah, I thought one of the turning points actually was that great save you made just after the second half started.
That's right, yeah, it came in an important time. Yeah, if we would have gone 2-0 down, we would have been up against it, but I kept it out and we went on to win.
Great season for you.
Yeah, it has been. Beginning of the season, I tore my cartilage, so I was out for 6 weeks, and now look where I am now.
What was the feeling at half-time? Because they'd really scored against the run of play, haven't they?
We felt they'd one shot in the whole game, you know, well, and then they sat back and we played everything in front of them. We found it hard to break them down. But he's had a great ball from Muzzy in the second half, and he's got in on the penalty, come about that, and then we never looked back from there. But we thought it was going to go to penalties, and then Steve's popped up with a great finish. I couldn't believe it.
I thought he put it wide, you know, because I was sat obviously on the bench, but couldn't believe it when he hit the back of the net.
I just started screaming, mate. I couldn't believe it.
That's right.
It's an unbelievable feeling.
It was unbelievable, frightening.
Well, I was sitting right behind the goal there. We were right behind the goal, and it seemed as if the world had stood still for a moment.
It went in slow motion.
Yeah, but you know, we're there and we've done it again. That's unbelievable how we've got the. I mean, after where we've been, you know, after the Sheffield United game, we lost at 2-0 at home, I think it was, and everybody wrote us off. But we've grinded back. We've got back to the top. So.
Can you stay up in the Premiership this time, do you think?
I don't know. We're not bothered at the minute. We're just going to get hammered tonight, and that's it.
Enjoy it. Well, Martin, did you ever think it was going to happen? It looked like it was going to penalties, didn't it?
Well, it certainly did. And I mean, you know, to have gone there and lost would have been a travesty, because I thought we had by far the best part of the game. And I have to say that, you know, when we got the penalty, I didn't think we were going to have to go as far as the end of the game. But by God, they left it a bit late, didn't they?
Did you enjoy that game?
Yeah, there was a little bit of rum out there, like because you're playing at Wembley, and got a lot of the ball. Just pleased to be out there with Leicester. Just pleased.
I mean, you looked like you were in charge for most of the game. They scored against the run of play.
Yeah,
really.
I thought we had like 90% of the game. I thought we controlled it really well. Then they've gone up the other end, and their first chance they've scored. We didn't really. Our last ball in the first half wasn't very good, but we've got into the game. We thoroughly deserved the win, I felt.
Can't believe it's gone in. It just sat up for us nice, and I thought about it, just hit it. And just blew on me wildest dreams. I'm lost for words. I just can't believe it.
Did you know it was going in? Because the world seemed to stand still just for a moment.
As soon as I hit it, I thought I've hit that quite well, sort of thing. I couldn't believe it because I didn't have the energy, and then, it's just a great feeling.
The players that are brought in have been absolutely fantastic, but even so, the players that were here have responded fantastically, and I've got to say, I will take some credit, as managers do. I took plenty of stick against Sheffield United, so I'll take some credit here, but it's the players have done it. They've been brilliant.
Well, Martin, you don't seem to have lost any hair today, but it was quite a nerve-wracking experience, that one.
Oh good Lord, went a goal behind to Crystal Palace's first real attack in the game. I thought we had plenty of possession first half without having a cutting edge to it. Second half, Kevin Poole has kept us in it just after half time with a save, and from then on I know it was a matter of when we would score. I thought you still have to turn it round and score, but we did. And I've got to admit, I was dreading the penalty kicks, because if we had lost today in penalties, I would have committed suicide.
Well, you must have enjoyed that.
I couldn't believe it. It's brilliant. I think we thoroughly deserved to win. I thought we were well on top, and we deserved to win the game.
Martin O'Neill became City's third manager in 12 months when he filled the post vacated by Mark McGee. But unlike his successor, O'Neill has ended the season on a glorious high. Good reason for City to celebrate. A happy time indeed for the Blue Army. For the full story of 95-96, don't miss the official season's review.